You're listening to the Viral Volley podcast. Now here's your host, Rob, on the mic.
Hey everyone, welcome to College Volleyball Weekly, men's top 20 edition. And it's a special edition because there's a wave of new coaches coming into D1-2 volleyball, one of which is on the screen, and that's Pepperdine head coach Jon Winder. We go way back to the perfect city of Irvine. If you don't know where that's at, look it up. It's Irvine, California, the most perfect city in the world. But Jon, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm not sure I feel the same way about Irvine after growing up there until I was 18 years old. Malibu is pretty nice when I moved from Irvine to Malibu, so no regrets there.
Of course, I'd feel the same way, I'm sure. Well, first question, it's more like breaking news, but I happened to be on your social media feed literally minutes before going on to our conversation here. The big news is who won the pickleball tournament?
Ooh. A guy on our team from Orange County, Brendan Reed, and our manager. They beat me and one of our new liberos, Mick Bakos. So I thought I had it in the bag, but my 2 or 3 days of pickleball experience did not get me the championship. Reed took it to us.
Reed's representing Newport Beach, current hometown where I'm at. So way to go, Brendan Reed.
Yeah, he's the Newport guy, and they can play some pickleball there. I think his mom, I guess his mom is really good, and she takes it to him. So,
well, he can get an NIL deal on pickleball then.
Yeah,
how about that? Started up at Pepperdine.
The thing these days.
Well, let's start off our interview. First of all, congratulations on getting the position there at Pepperdine. I mean, men's volleyball has been growing intensely across the nation. There's great talent all over. So, when you've been all over the place, which we'll talk about here, as far as men's, women's, your career, and then coming to beach to back to indoor. I mean, there's been a ping pong, but in a good way, because it's giving you nothing but experience. So let's start with how would you describe for our viewers and listeners, your timeline and thought process and leading up to this first position as a D1-2 head volleyball coach?
Yeah, just from my little coaching career here, how the coaching career has gone. Yeah. So I think when I finished playing, then I had surgery and all this stuff. So it took about 9 months or so to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And ultimately I came back to Pepperdine actually as an academic coordinator and worked with student athletes. I think for me, the joy has always been in working with young people. And I think college sports is really fun and interesting. And it certainly evolved a ton now into what it is today with name, image, and likeness, and all sorts of other things happening right now in the NCAA. But certainly for me, the mentoring and those relationships matter a ton. And I of course love the game and love volleyball. But certainly kind of like the core kind of that brought me back has always been about student athlete development. And so started that, and then Marv asked me to coach, coached here for 2 years as the assistant coach with Marv, and then had to make a little bit more money, and so switched to the women's side, and also the opportunity to work at Washington. Keegan Cook is the head coach there, and he's phenomenal, and the program was one of the top 3-4 programs in the country at the time, and so it was a neat opportunity to coach at a high level in the women's game. And at the same time, I was also able to be the head coach of the beach volleyball team there and kind of get that sport up and running. It was really when it first started with the Pac-12. I think I was the head coach there in the inaugural season, or maybe the second season of the Pac-12 having beach volleyball. And so that was really fun to kind of be at the forefront of that sport and to help develop it and to help develop that program, and certainly learned a ton along the way. And now, that program's going, and beach volleyball in general, it has really exploded, as you know. And and so did that for a little bit. Was there for 3 years, and then went to Fresno State, where my wife's from, and the opportunity to be the head coach there of the women's team was good. And so I did that for 4 years before coming back here to my alma mater. So coached a variety of levels and ways, and beach and indoor and men's over time. And so I don't know. But it's kind of funny because it's to me, it's funny because it's really how I always was as a player. I didn't really learn how to set until a little bit later on. I played at Balboa Bay, good club with some great coaches like Travis Turner, and um, John Hawks was my club coach actually. And
He's gonna hate you for basically admitting how old he is on a
he
revealing.
looks the same though. He looks the same. He's still 25.
He actually referenced you on his episode.
Is that
It's
right?
like, oh, Winder.
Yeah. So and so for me, I always just played volleyball. I was a volleyball player first and foremost, and then as it went, I kind of figured out the setting thing. But definitely in a lot of ways, coaching has kind of been the same thing. There's one element that's always the technical, tactical stuff of like the actual sport, but such a huge part of coaching is the interpersonal communication, the team dynamics, the team culture, like all these other things. And so I've had some tremendous experiences and perspectives by being with lots of different types of people, lots of different athletes, lots of different kind of cultures.
Yeah. Well, I have to make one correction because Keegan Cook is a friend of the show. You're still a top program, Keegan. Just in case you're wondering.
Sorry. Definitely still is. He's still a good, very dear friend.
Yep.
Very great program.
And then also the beach program, if you started from basically nothing, they are definitely on the rise in the Pac-12. So, great roots all over, not just men's, but women's and beach for you. So it's a great experience for you. I was going to ask you, what was it like going through the process of deciding to apply and then go through the interview process? Did you solicit family, friends, or peers? What was it like for you?
Yeah, probably a little different than normal. Being an alumni here, Pepperdine's a private university. They have a little bit of a different process. I think each university does things differently. And yeah, so just, of course, talking about things with my wife, Marv, I've talked to him every week since I was probably 16 years old. So, I think it's been a lifelong commitment for me to the university and to Marv. And so I think that's always been a conversation that we've always been having over, like he used to ask me to coach when I was a freshman here. I think he always thought I would coach one day. And so he was always asking me every summer, every year, am I going to coach his camp? Am I going to coach his club team? Am I going to coach whatever? And
right.
So it's just always been kind of a conversation that him and I have had for a long time. And and the relationship that I have with the athletic director here has been great over the years. And the new president here, Jim Gash, is awesome. And he has a VP, Tim Perrin, that's really, really bright. And so, for me, I think the conversations with the leaders at the university, it was really positive and exciting about the sport at our university. And then, for me with family, I think the men's schedule is really different, and I have 4 little kids. And so the opportunity to blend my work and family is a little bit healthier. Like I want to be a great dad, and I want to be home with my kids. I want to be a great coach, and I want to help our team in this program be at a national championship level every year. And that takes a lot of time. And so I think by being a spring sport, that alone helps tremendously. And so I think for me, some of these different factors and talking to Keegan and talking to some of my other friends over the years has kind of led to this point here.
Great. Well, you have the benefit of having an international career as well, but what are some of the key takeaways or learning moments that you had in your international career and the USA volleyball career that you bring to coaching D1 too?
Yeah. Everything. I don't like, it's a part of me, right? Like there's so many things I've learned along the way from coaching other coaches that I've had internationally and other matches, experiences, how to be able to work with athletes, just sharing stories of the experiences both in college here, as well as playing for different types of coaches and different types of matches. I mean, the stress of playing in the world championships on like the biggest stage, like I know what that feels like. I've been there. I did that, and competing to be on the Olympic roster and every summer on the national team and making teams, not making teams. Like there's so much that I think for me and my perspective, the international experience, like I learned a lot and achieved a lot, but I also failed a lot. And so I think that goes both ways in terms of now as a coach being able to empathize and understand when you get benched. Like I didn't get benched when I was at Pepperdine. I got benched when I was on the national team though. And and it's another level of competitive nature there. And so it's allowed me, I think, to have a better understanding when players don't make rosters or teams or whatnot and are in and out of lineups. And I think that and I think part of it with the international stuff has been seeing the game played a lot of different ways. The international game right now is played at a really high level. And so the opportunity to be coached by coaches from Brazil and France and Poland and a lot of different influences that I've just seen the game evolve and develop across the globe. And so there's certainly a lot of drills and activities and ways that teach passing and setting and different things. And so, being able to share that with the athletes has been good.
Right. Well, kind of going back to what we were alluding to a little earlier, but you went from coaching men's to women's to beach to the head coach of a women's position and then back to men's. But what is it about the men's side or the Pepperdine position that lured you back into the men's side?
I would not have taken another men's position. I don't think. To me, it's about Pepperdine. To me, it's about the responsibility I feel to this program, to the 53 years of other. You can see like the teams over here. I got them all over the walls in this office, and so it's just 50 years of teams, and I was one of the hundreds of athletes that have played here, and so I've always felt a deep commitment to the university as a whole, to the mission of the university, and to the program, and to Marv, who's helped build that. And so for me, I just feel like a steward, and that this is not my program. This is Pepperdine volleyball, and I'm a part of it. And it's my responsibility to steward it, guide it, and really, not mess it up, as Marv would often say. And he's still here to make sure I don't mess it up. But it's an incredible place. Both the university, the leadership of the university with the president, the athletic director, with Marv here, and then there's all the tradition that I love so much. And so the way in which we teach the things that we value, like it's not a new culture, like it's not David's culture or Marv's culture. It just is the way it is, and it's been that way for 53 years. And and so it's a really different place in so many ways. And so for me, coming back to the men's side was really about coming to Pepperdine volleyball because I believe so deeply in the place. I was willing to make changes to be here.
Wow. Now, based on your coaching career, what do you see as the key differences in coaching men versus women, or the similarities? I know that could be a loaded question and it could be a lot, but just the key.
Yeah, I think that the one that instantly always comes to my mind when people ask me that question, I believe this comes from Hugh McCutcheon, who of course has done both, and was that guys need to bond. They need to battle to bond, and girls need to bond to battle. So like oftentimes you would spend lots of times having conversations with girls as a team to like get depth and vulnerability and trust and all these like things. And guys, it tends to be like, hey, let's play volleyball and let's do something together in terms of just like activities and battle together a little bit more. So I think just what brings groups together is probably a little bit different. And of course some of the physicality is a little bit different, but the women's game keeps evolving and keeps growing and keeps getting more and more similar to what the guys are doing. And so I think that maybe the relationship stuff, the team culture stuff is a little bit different. And beach is different as well too, right? It's a little bit more individual of a sport, and that's a different dynamic as well.
Well, this question that I'm going to ask you actually spurned from an earlier response you had, but I wanted to ask you because, being with the experience that you've had in the game internationally and your career, but how have you seen the men's side, I guess, transform since your playing days to today? Like, what is the key difference that you're seeing, if any?
Um, yeah, I think the serving and passing is a big difference. The speed and strength that people serve with and that it's
Mhm.
required to pass. I think when I played, it was a little bit easier from a serving and passing standpoint. I think
Mhm.
uh, the size is still the same. Maybe guys are a little bit more athletic today, but there's still some scary athletes like George Romaine or Sean Moon, a great athlete and great.
Yeah.
That there's still those elite athletes out there. But yeah, and then maybe the offenses are a little bit quicker now. Speed of the offense, certainly the BIC has been a big addition to the sport in the last 10 years or so. Kind of a little bit more of that back row play.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, maybe the biggest thing to me I think about is the serving and passing.
Yeah. Some bombers at the service line these days hitting 75-mile-an-hour plus. So
Yeah, we
that's
didn't
at
see
the D1-2
that.
level.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So it's definitely a little different there with the serving.
Yeah. Well, you have this unique opportunity to come back to your alma mater and have your mentor, who is literally a few yards away from Firestone Fieldhouse. If not, he has a security cam inside your office somewhere. So, but he's right there on campus. What does it mean to you to have a resource such as Pepperdine volleyball great and USA volleyball legend Marv within distance?
Yeah, no, he's in the office every day. Actually, right now he's with the USA women's team. I know they were down 2-1 against Serbia, so I didn't
They
get to
lost 3-1.
they lost 3-1. Okay.
I checked Twitter
Yeah,
right before coming on.
there you go. So yeah, he's been with the USA women for the last couple of weeks,
Mhm.
but he's in here every day and I'm just very grateful that he's here. I think especially in the transition, it's been great just talking through scheduling and program things and recruiting and scholarships and all this stuff. And it's yeah, it'd be weird without him here,
Mhm.
and it'd be weirder and more odd because I just regularly talk to him as well over the
Right.
phone for certainly the last 10 years, but before that, right? I mean, when I was a student here, I met with him once a week at least in his office, just talking about leadership and different things. And so that's just continued on, and I think it's the uniqueness that he is makes everybody feel like they're best friends and that he's close with everybody and he's just a phenomenal connector and cares deeply about people. And so I'm certainly feel very blessed to have these conversations with him and to make sure we steward the program in the right way and make good decisions for the program as we move forward.
Yeah. Well, how about the rest of your coaching staff? You got Matt Pollock coming back, and then the addition of Victoria Dennis as the director of operations. Can you share
Yeah.
a little bit about both of them, and have you selected them, and why?
Yeah. So Matt has been here for the last 3 years, played here, played internationally for 7 years. And he's a tremendous coach. He's positive, he's upbeat, he's outgoing. He's been fantastic with recruiting and I know he coaches, helps with some clubs in the area. And yeah, he's just great. He's great in the gym. He's great with recruiting. He's great with the university. He knows it well. So been really blessed to have Matt here. I can't say enough high quality things about him. Just
Mhm.
again, on the court, off the court, with us as a staff, talking about big picture things, growth of the program, as well as just teaching, blocking or passing or whatnot.
Mhm.
So that's been awesome. Fortunate to have him here. And then Victoria has been awesome. I think when I kind of like got into this, you have to make some decisions and decided to hire a director of ops for this season. And Victoria has been huge addition. I think her experiences as a beach volleyball player, the AVP, and also playing some professional indoor, she's had to be very independent and
Mhm.
like a self-starter. You gotta, if you play AVP, you better figure out how to make a living and also try to be good and at beach volleyball. So she's been a huge help for our program, doing a lot of different stuff for us. And Yeah, so she's been awesome. Great presence, great personality. And then at some point in time here, we'll hire another
Oh,
assistant coach. So
okay. Oh, I thought
just
it was
kind
all
of
complete. That's why I went to the site. I'm like, oh, I guess you're done.
oh yeah, we'll hire one more. I might try to convince Marv to help out a little bit, but we'll hire one more assistant coach at some point here.
Yeah.
I think again, in the same way with recruiting, the standard is high here, and it's not, Pepperdine is not for everybody. It's definitely, this incredible mix of character and high standards on the court, and so when it comes to coaching, it's the same way. And so we're being patient, and we'll make sure we get the right person here.
Yep. Well, being that I mean, you actually had answered this previously, but I'm going to ask the question just more forwardly, and then I'll have you respond. But regarding the culture, it's like usually a coach comes in and says, "Hey, we're going to establish a new culture," but it sounds like you're just maintaining what has been established at Pepperdine. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's so different. Like when I took over at one with Washington with the beach volleyball, there was no culture from like a beach volleyball standpoint. So it was kind of like taking what we did with the indoor stuff and transitioning that into the beach game. And then when I went to Fresno, it was like, hey, let's change everything. And so we changed everything from how we play volleyball to how we do team meals to how we talk to how we do team huddles, like the amount of things and the cultural things that you're kind of like trying to address and get in place. And here it's been different than those two, right? And so for me, it's a lot of it is maybe just also leaning on what it was like when I was a player here. And those times were really good for me. It was a great time as an athlete, and that was the best gym environment I'd ever played in. I think for me, one of the beliefs I have is that the coach's role is as an environmental engineer. Like we need to set the environment upon which everybody lives in and plays volleyball in, on the court, off the court. What is that environment like? And so definitely leaning on what it was like when I was a player here. And we went to three Final Fours in 4 years and won the national championship. And the amount of success was immense. The training environment was intense. But the guys were close, and it was light and fun and serious, and kind of all these feelings at the same time that are often contradictory, but they worked. And Mark set this great environment to train and to play every day. And so I think for me, continuing on in that culture and trying to tune it, tailor it, just kind of keep tweaking it and keep finding more ways to get better and to make sure it's where it's leading to this elite performance.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, last year the Waves won their 6th MPSF tournament title and to remain a men's volleyball powerhouse. But what expectations as a coach will you have to maintain this Malibu mystique or the winning ways of the Waves?
Show up and be good every day. Again, I think the standard is the standard. It doesn't change. Sometimes you're going to win the championship and sometimes you're not, but ultimately you're always trying to be at the highest level you possibly can be the best you can be. And I've been on teams that here that we didn't win the conference championship, but we did better in the NCAA tournament, and vice versa. So I think for us, it's always about maybe a byproduct of the conference championship is you have a good team, but certainly we're always looking at the national championship standards and trying to be the best team in the country every year, and ultimately trying to be the best that we can. Things happen, and you always are trying to make the most of what you've got and of your team, and trying to get the most out of everybody, and hopefully that's good enough to be the best team out there.
Yeah. Well, you yourself have played for and or have been coached by Pepperdine's previous coaches. Is your coaching style similar or different from when you were with both Marv and Dave?
Yeah, I don't, I of course played for Marv. Dave was the manager when I played here. And then and then I coached with him. I think we were both assistants. Yeah, we were both assistant coaches here for 2 years with Marv. And so, I don't know his style as well as I do Marv's, I guess,
Mhm.
because I played under Marv for 4 years. I think with Marv, yeah, maybe a little bit similar, but
Mhm.
probably a little more hands-on, at least I was playing in practice yesterday. So well, that's a little different. And I'm playing in practice tomorrow morning. So yeah, so a little different in some ways, but yeah, not going to be too far off just because that's what I've seen that's worked, right? That was really
Mhm.
helpful for me. I've played for coaches in France and in Germany, different places that they were a little different. They were yellers, screamers, cussing me out and doing all that stuff and stomping their feet, and it didn't make me better. I didn't,
Yeah.
become a better player because they cussed me out and yelled at me. And so that's just my experience and how I interacted with that. And
Mhm.
certainly, I think part of what I believe in is that the players are happiest when they're getting better. So there's always a focus on improvement and on growth
Mhm.
and teaching the game and then creating an environment that's also really competitive and fun to be in. You want to enjoy what
Mhm.
you do every day. We do a lot of volleyball. The last thing I want is people just get burnt out and hate the sport, and
Yeah.
so it's important that we always kind of keep keep a balance, is getting
Right.
better and growing and but making sure that we enjoy what we do on a day-to-day basis and even mix in pickleball from time to time for a little, side game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, seeing how big everyone is on the court there, it's just not fair.
You kind of get hit by the ball.
Yeah. Um, so this question here is like, as far as like becoming a head coach, and I mean, in the program that Pepperdine is, you've got two coaches who got a total of 5 Coach of the Year awards. And does that create any additional, I guess, pressure or expectations of you in this position?
I've never thought about a Coach of the Year award. I don't. No, I don't know. I think that for me, it's about how do we help the team get as good as the team can get, and the focus for me is not on individual things. As a coach,
Right.
I've had plenty of awards as a player, and I'm good on those. I think that the kind of what I went back to in the beginning was like this stewardship that the program is not mine. It's not my success. I think I'll honestly say it's different feeling for me than when I was at Washington or when I was at
Hmm.
Fresno State, that I was a little bit more like, hey, I want to be good so that I can kind of keep moving in my career and put this on my resume that we won the national championship or the Pac-12 championship or whatever.
Mhm.
And but here it's different. And I think that for me, I coach because I love this program so dearly and I care about it so much that I would gladly sacrifice myself for the success of this program. And I would gladly do whatever it takes for this program. And it's not about what this program is going to give to me or what it's going to do for my career or my resume or my any award that I might receive because of it. It's simply about stewarding this program, shepherding, guiding these guys, and helping these guys become as good as they can be, both here and then to help them have long careers afterwards if they want to go play professionally or on the national team, on the Olympics. Those are things that we're trying to do every day, and that's what I would take
Mhm.
much more joy and satisfaction in is to see those them achieving their dreams, and then the program kind of achieving the dreams and the standard, not even the dreams, just the standards of the program. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now going into your first season, what do you feel will be your biggest challenge, year one?
Passing. It's probably always passing, but yeah, we graduated two really good passers, and one guy, Spencer Wickens, that is a
Mhm.
fantastic leader and um person. He's helping with the women's at Nebraska now and getting his master's there, but he'll be a great coach one day, or he's already a great coach.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think that's going to be a big challenge for us, is to kind of figure out the team. We have some amazing pieces. David did a fantastic job recruiting. We have some guys that are supremely skilled in their positions and really
Mhm.
physical players. They're really fun to work with, and I think that we're going to have to keep an open mind and keep allowing them to compete every day and to get better. I think the guys are hungry to improve. There's quite a few guys that are going to have to play that didn't play last year. I think we graduated 10 guys from last year, but we still returned 20 some guys. Like, so there's a, and we have some good new players coming in. So it's, I think the challenge for us is just, again, passing is always going to be one thing, the serving and passing piece, but we have some pretty physical guys. And so kind of figuring out the right lineup that allows us to play the game at the highest level will be a challenge that'll get worked out, I think, as we go over these next couple months.
Yeah. Well, as you prepare, I don't think you've had any fall competition yet, but are there any particular athletes that have caught your eye so far?
In our gym, we've just had the 8-hour stuff. So 4 hours per week of volleyball activities right now. We start in not next week, but the week after, and we have a scrimmage against Long Beach and Santa Barbara and Hawaii and BYU, I think. So got a few scrimmages, and we'll do a little alumni scrimmage as well. And it'll be good to see the guys play a little bit more and try out some different lineups and see how people respond, when the lights come on. And so I don't know, that lots of guys are competing well, playing well. It's been good to see some different people that I knew the key players last year, but some of these guys that didn't maybe practice as much or play as much in matches has been fun. I think everybody's very aware of, guys like Bryce Dvorak or Jalen Jasper, who have been big roles in the NCAA these last couple of years. Jacob Steele's been a big part of the team for the last few years, and but there's some other players that are really good as well. There's Joe DeLuzio, and is a guy that's a good player for us, and and we have some other guys, Cole Rassick and Brendan Reed, some good ball control, volleyball players, really competitive guys. And so our libero last year was playing really well, Trey Cole, and so I'm excited to see him keep evolving into his junior year. Most of our guys, we only have 2 seniors, and so quite a few younger players, but maybe haven't played a ton yet, but still have some experience. So kind of like, I think, hungry to get out there and show what they can do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're having to deal with some people with COVID years still. So it's like, who's coming back? Who's not? And then the whole portal thing is totally different from when you were playing. So,
for sure. It's really different today. And even what other teams are going to look like, you don't really know, like, who's coming back for extra years and who's not. So.
Well, with that, I mean, this may be an unfair question for you, being that you're just coming back into the men's game, but based on what you've seen so far, who do you believe are some of the top teams to watch out for in the NCAA? You can say the Waves.
The Waves. I think that's what's fun about one of the things that's fun about men's volleyball is it keeps growing, and the parity keeps getting bigger and bigger. And there's so many good teams now. When I played, there was really there was a couple, right? But it wasn't what it is today, where you have teams from the Midwest or East Coast that are competing at a high level, and the MPSF teams, the Big West teams. That's split has really impacted the game quite a bit, because both these conferences used to be together, right? And you just beat up on each other every week. So a little different, but certainly Hawaii won it last year. Of course, they're good. Lots of guys coming back, and I know Long Beach has some good players, and UCLA is always good. BYU is always good. So I mean, you gotta show up and play every day. Like, everybody can play. Everybody's good that we're going to play against. Certainly, the schedule we've set for this upcoming year is going to be really challenging. We believe that we've got a quality team, and we want to be going up against the best. And so, we've got a tough schedule this year.
I didn't go onto the site, but is it already set so I can direct people there if it is?
Not yet. No, not public.
Okay. I know some have come out and I'm like, how are you guys able to do this? But now, in the same regard, who are some of the top athletes to watch out for? Well, I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 would be great to list off that. I mean, you've only been in for a few months now, so.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like, I think that with the portal and with a lot of international players these days, and injuries and all this stuff, like, yeah, it seems like every year there's some guys that are the same, but then there's always going to be some new guys that get in the mix. Yeah, so we'll see. Well, yeah, I don't know naming names, but they got some good guys coming in.
Yeah. That's why you're talking about the Big West and the MPSF. Guys, there's a time when there was a 12 teams playing in the MPSF, and I mean, it was just a grueling schedule. But your Pepperdine Waves team was, they're at the top during your career, which is pretty amazing considering how tough the competition was in that 12-team MPSF.
Yeah, it was like, it's gnarly. I mean, I think my freshman year we were 25-2, and we lost two games in the MPSF, and it was to the other top two teams in the country, and yeah, and I think my junior year we were like somewhere around there as well, 20-1, something like that. It's just, it's gnarly to play at a high level all the time, and the quality of teams on a Thursday and then a Friday, and like just 5-setters, and yeah, pretty intense. It's a lot of fun, like if you enjoy competition.
Well, the diehard volleyball fans like myself, like, let's go 5. Come on.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've actually solicited some questions from Volley Talk and from Instagram. So I'm going to just cherry pick some just to end our conversation here. But one of them was from Volley Talk. What can be done to get men's volleyball on TV more often, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think people have been asking that for however long TV's been around. I think that part of it is just that if we get we'll see what happens with the Big Ten evolving. If men's volleyball gets going there, the more the Pac-12 can do it, since they have the infrastructure in there right now. Otherwise, a lot of the other schools have the live streaming and are doing a much better job, I think, with that, where you can pull it up on an app or on your phone. And that's also the way that I think most things are going these days. Is you look at Amazon Prime now has NFL on Thursday nights, right? It's not about like traditional TV media. I know the MPSF has been working on some different things to get more live streaming going and more accessible. And so for me, that's what I would think is the best way forward, is kind of like with the new technologies and being able to promote it well through social media, through different marketing campaign kind of stuff, and to make it really accessible on people's phones, on an app, free, pretty easy access is going to be important for us.
It's not like in our day when it was CSTV with Geeter and Dane making the call.
Yeah. Little different then. And the traditional media, we're not going to, I think back in the day it used to be on like CBS, and a little different now.
Yep. Well, the other question is, and I know this is probably from a Hawaii volleyball fan, because the question was, what's your favorite place to play away games other than UH?
Other than UH, yeah. Away games? I'm trying to think.
You're a big Provo fan, weren't you? Smithfield House, right?
Smithfield House, they get rowdy in there. I always liked it when it was a little more intimate and kind of just a little more intimate and intense, so even like USC used to play in like the Lion Center.
That's right.
Like the North Gym kind of thing. Like there was 25 people in the gym, and it was a sold out house. And, it was just kind of like, I think sometimes those environments are pretty fun. I remember some matches at Cal State Northridge with the Matadome, I think.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Look at you going through.
Remembering all the old gyms. But I don't know. Now everybody wants to play in the big arenas, but nobody can fit 15,000 people at a men's volleyball game, 20,000 people at a men's volleyball game. So
well, you come down to Irvine. Hopefully you have some family in Irvine still, right?
No more family in Irvine. They all moved. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I'm so sorry, from Irvana. Yeah.
You don't play in the Woodbridge High School.
You don't play in the was it the Crawford Center?
Crawford Court? Yeah.
Crawford Court. There you go. Yeah. No more Crawford Court. Do they still play there? And,
No, well, I mean, it's been years, but they will if there's another big event in there. So,
yeah,
um,
the Bren Center.
yeah. Well, they've got Court 21, which is a Terraflex. So we're excited to have that out there. We rolled it out last year, and it just looks cool on TV.
Yeah, Terraflex. It's great.
So wanted to go and end our discussion here, but what is going to be happening competition wise? Are they going to be open to the public? Are they at PEP, or because I've been trying to get all the team schedules and figure out where people can be if they want to check it out, or and how many there are going to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're going to scrimmage play Hawaii here. That's the only one I know. The other ones, I'm not sure if they're open to the public or whatnot. I'm sure everybody will post it a couple weeks before it happens or something like that. So,
well, Hawaii should be coming up pretty quickly because I know they're making a visit here in our neck of the woods. I'll just leave it at that. Like within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, we got a couple more weeks for that one, but
yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hey, Jon, it is an absolute pleasure to chat with you about your team, and congratulations on the position at Pepperdine. A great program at your stewarding, as you said so perfectly, and it's got great people all around you. So it makes total sense they would bring you in because you are definitely the model of the Pepperdine Waves. Definitely a child of or a student with great mentors there for sure.
Grateful to be here. That's for sure. So,
all right, Jon. Well, thanks for coming on to College Volleyball Weekly. Looking forward to chatting with you during the season, maybe even before then. We'll see.
Sounds good. We're here in Malibu.
All right.